Is your mind often a turbulent sea, tossed by worries and regrets, struggling to find a moment of true calm and solace? What if I told you the profound peace you seek lies not in distant journeys, but within the gentle rhythm of your own breath? Could this ancient practice truly transform your later years into a period of deep serenity and inner freedom? My dear friends, it is a privilege to share this quiet time with you, as if we are simply sitting together in a sun-drenched garden, sharing stories and reflections. Life, as we journey through its many seasons, often leaves us with a rich tapestry of experiences. We gather memories like precious stones, some sparkling with joy, others perhaps dulled by sorrow or regret. And as the sun begins to set on the active years of our lives, as we step into this beautiful phase of retirement, do you sometimes find that the mind, instead of settling into a gentle stillness, becomes even more active? Have you ever felt a deep weariness, not just in your body, but in the very core of your being? A sense that your mind is constantly spinning, reviewing the past, or perhaps anxiously anticipating the future. Many of us, after years of work and responsibility, hope that retirement would bring an end to this mental busyness. We imagined long, peaceful days, perhaps pursuing hobbies, enjoying family, or simply resting. Yet for some, this newfound freedom can paradoxically lead to a mind that feels more restless, more agitated, perhaps even overwhelmed by the quiet. The news of the world can feel heavier, the worries about loved ones more persistent, and the echoes of past decisions louder. It is as if, without the constant external demands, the internal landscape becomes the new frontier, and sometimes it feels like a landscape filled with thorny bushes and winding paths rather than a peaceful meadow. Do you recognize this feeling, this subtle yet pervasive sense of a weary mind yearning for a quiet haven? Perhaps you find yourself replaying conversations, wondering if you said the right thing, or perhaps wishing you had done something differently. Or maybe your thoughts drift towards the future, contemplating health, finances, or the well-being of your children and grandchildren. These are natural currents of the human mind, especially as we gain perspective and wisdom through age. But what if there was a simple, profoundly effective way to navigate these currents, to find an anchor that holds you steady amidst the mental storms? What if you could cultivate a sanctuary of peace, always accessible, always present, no matter what external circumstances may arise? Centuries ago, in a land far away, a great teacher, the Buddha, discovered a profound truth, that much of our suffering, our discontent, arises not from the world outside, but from the uncontrolled movements of our own minds. He taught that peace is not something to be found by chasing after external things, but by looking inward, by understanding the nature of our thoughts, and by gently guiding our attention. And one of the most direct, most accessible paths he illuminated, a path available to every single one of us, regardless of age or circumstance, is the path of conscious breathing. Imagine, if you will, an old farmer named Kale. Kale lived a long and industrious life, working his fields from dawn till dusk. His body was strong, his hands calloused, but as he grew older and his farming days began to wane, his mind became uncharacteristically busy. He would sit on his porch, watching the sunset, but his mind would be churning. Did I plant enough corn this year? Was that rain good for the harvest? My son, he worries too much. My daughter, she should visit more often. He carried the weight of every past season, every future possibility, every family member's joy and sorrow. His heart felt heavy, his sleep was restless, and despite the quiet beauty around him, Kale found little peace. One day, a traveling monk passed through Kale's village. Seeing the weariness in the old farmer's eyes, the monk sat beside him. "Kale," he began, "you have tilled the earth with great care. You have guided the water to nourish your crops. But have you ever tended to the garden of your own mind with the same gentle attention?" Kale sighed. How does one tend to something so wild and unruly, wise one? My thoughts are like weeds, growing everywhere. The monk smiled softly. The Buddha taught a simple way, Kale. For today, just choose one thing, any one thing, to anchor your attention. Let it be the breath. Kale was skeptical. My breath? I breathe all day without thinking. Precisely, said the monk. It is always there, always reliable. For a few moments, just notice your breath. Feel it entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then gently leaving your body. Do not try to change it. Do not judge it. Just observe it as you would observe the clouds drifting across the sky. Kale tried. His mind immediately protested. This is silly. I should be thinking about tomorrow's market. But he remembered the monk's gentle instruction. He brought his attention back to the breath. It was a struggle. His mind wandered countless times. Each time, with a small inner sigh, he brought it back. It was like trying to keep a playful puppy on a leash, constantly pulling in different directions. Yet after a week, Kale noticed something subtle. Those moments, even fleeting ones, where his attention rested on his breath, brought a tiny spark of calm. The wild garden of his mind still had its weeds, but he had found a small, quiet corner where a single beautiful flower was beginning to bloom. He realized that the practice wasn't about stopping thoughts, but about choosing where to place his attention. It wasn't about fighting the mind, but about gently training it. This ancient wisdom, my dear friends, is as relevant today as it was in Kale's time. When we speak of a weary mind, we are often speaking of a mind that is constantly pulled in too many directions. A mind that lives in the past or the future, rarely resting in the present moment. And the beautiful truth is that your breath, this constant companion since your first cry, is a bridge back to that present moment. It is a gentle anchor, always available, always bringing you back to the here and now. Think for a moment about your daily life. Perhaps you are preparing a meal, and your mind is already planning the next day's errands. Perhaps you are enjoying a cup of tea, but your thoughts are tangled in a conversation you had last week. Or maybe you are simply trying to relax, but your mind is replaying a worry, a concern about a loved one, or a financial question. These are the moments when the weariness settles in, when the mind feels like it's perpetually on a treadmill, even when your body is at rest. What if, in these very moments, you could gently shift your attention? You don't need to sit on a cushion for hours, although that can be wonderful. You can begin wherever you are. When you are drinking your tea, just notice the warmth of the cup in your hands, the aroma, the taste, and then notice your breath. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. When you are walking, feel your feet on the ground, the air on your skin, and then notice your breath. It's not about adding another task to your day. It's about bringing awareness to what is already happening. The Buddha called this practice anapanasati, which simply means mindfulness of breathing. It is not a technique to control your breath, but rather to observe it, to become intimately familiar with its natural rhythm. When we try to force our breath, we often create more tension. The wisdom lies in allowing the breath to be as it is, sometimes shallow, sometimes deep, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. It is a direct reflection of our inner state. By simply observing it, we begin to create a gentle space between ourselves and the incessant chatter of the mind. Let me share another story, this time about a scholar named Anya. Anya had spent her life immersed in books and debates. Her intellect was sharp, her knowledge vast, but her mind was also a whirlwind of concepts, arguments, and anxieties. As she aged, she found that her impressive knowledge offered little solace for the inner turmoil she felt. She tried to meditate, but her mind, accustomed to analysis and judgment, fought against stillness. "My thoughts are too strong," she complained to her teacher. "I cannot quiet them. It's like trying to stop a waterfall with my bare hands." Her teacher, A simple woman with a profound calm offered Anya a small, smooth stone. "Anya," she said, "take this stone. For 1 hour each day, sit quietly. Hold the stone in your hand. And for this hour, let your only task be to observe your breath. When a thought arises, simply acknowledge it, like a cloud passing in the sky, and gently bring your attention back to the feeling of your breath, the slight expansion and contraction of your body. Do not fight the thoughts. Do not judge them. Just return to your breath again and again." Anya, being a scholar, wanted to analyze this. But what is the philosophy behind it? What is the ultimate goal? Her teacher smiled. "The philosophy is simply presence. The goal is simply to be. Just practice, Anya, without expectation." Anya reluctantly agreed. The first few days were torture. Her mind raced, judging the practice, judging herself for failing, planning her next lesson. But each time, remembering the simple instruction, she brought her attention back to the feeling of the stone in her hand and the subtle sensation of her breath. It was painstaking work. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifted. She began to notice moments, just moments, where her mind felt a little clearer, a little less agitated. She realized that the thoughts were not hers in the way she had always believed. They were simply mental events, arising and passing, much like the breath itself. The practice of returning to the breath, again and again, was like learning to ride the waves of the ocean instead of being dragged under by them. She began to see that her inner peace did not depend on her thoughts disappearing, but on her relationship to them changing. She learned that she could observe them without being swept away. And this, my friends, is the essence of what we are exploring. You do not need to become a monk or sit in a special posture for hours. You can begin right now, right where you are. Let us try a very simple, gentle exercise together. If you are comfortable, you might gently close your eyes or simply lower your gaze. There is no need to change your posture. Just allow yourself to be at ease. Now, bring your awareness to your breath. There is no need to breathe in a special way. Simply notice the natural rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Perhaps you feel it at the tip of your nostrils, a cool sensation as the air enters, a warmer sensation as it leaves. Or perhaps you feel the gentle rise of your chest or abdomen with each inhale, and the soft falling with each exhale. There is no right or wrong way to feel it. Just notice. As you sit here, your mind may wander. It may bring up a memory, a plan, a worry, or even a sudden urge to get up and do something. This is perfectly normal. Our minds are built to think. When you notice your mind has wandered, simply acknowledge it, perhaps with a soft, internal thinking, and then, with great gentleness, guide your attention back to the sensation of your breath. Do not scold yourself. Do not judge. Just return patiently, compassionately, again and again, like a shepherd gently guiding a stray lamb back to the flock. This returning, this gentle redirecting of attention is the heart of the practice. Each time you notice your mind has wandered and you bring it back to your breath, you are strengthening a muscle of mindfulness, a muscle of presence. You are training your mind not to stop thinking, but to choose its focus. And in that choice lies freedom from the constant grip of a weary, overactive mind. Perhaps you are thinking, my mind is too busy for this. I have too many things to think about. Or, I've tried this before, and it didn't work. These are common thoughts, and they are perfectly valid. This practice is not about instant perfection. It is a lifelong journey of gentle cultivation. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't plant a seed and expect a full harvest overnight. You water it, you weed around it, you give it light and time, and slowly, surely, it grows. Another common concern is physical discomfort. As we age, our bodies may carry aches and pains. You might wonder, how can I focus on my breath when my back hurts. This is an important point. Mindfulness of breathing does not ask you to ignore pain. In fact, it can be a powerful tool to relate to pain differently. When discomfort arises, you can gently bring your awareness to it. Notice its edges, its intensity. Is it sharp or dull? Constant or fluctuating? And then bring your awareness back to your breath, allowing the breath to flow into and around the area of discomfort, not trying to make it go away, but simply observing it with kindness. Often, when we stop fighting the pain, when we simply allow it to be, its grip can sometimes soften. The breath becomes an anchor in the midst of sensation, allowing you to experience the sensation without being overwhelmed by it. Consider the story of an elderly gentleman named Thomas. Thomas had lived a life of great activity. After retirement, he found himself struggling with chronic pain in his knees, a constant companion that stole his sleep and limited his joy. He tried various remedies, but nothing seemed to truly alleviate his suffering. One day, a friend introduced him to a simple breathing practice. Thomas was initially frustrated. "How can my breath help my knees?" he grumbled. But he decided to give it a try. Each morning, he would sit in his favorite armchair, and instead of dwelling on the pain, he would bring his attention to his breath. He noticed that when his mind focused on the pain, it intensified. When he brought his awareness to his breath, and then gently extended that awareness to the sensations in his knees, not to fix them, but just to observe them, a subtle shift occurred. He started to notice gaps in the pain, moments of less intensity that he had never perceived before, because his mind was always braced against the pain. He began to breathe into the sensation, imagining the breath as a soft, comforting wave washing over his knees. Thomas's pain didn't magically disappear, but his relationship with it changed profoundly. He found that he could create a space, a buffer, between the sensation and his reaction to it. His mind, once so consumed by the pain, found moments of peace and freedom. He learned to differentiate between the physical sensation and the mental suffering he added to it. His sleep improved, and he began to experience moments of joy again, even with the presence of discomfort. His weariness transformed into a quiet acceptance. This is the profound gift of conscious breathing, my dear friends. It is not a magic cure, but a gentle pathway to inner resilience and peace. When your mind is calm and present, you can experience the simple joys of life more fully. That warm cup of tea tastes richer. The laughter of your grandchildren sounds sweeter. The beauty of a sunset brings a deeper sense of wonder. When the mind is free from its constant chatter, it opens up to the richness of the present moment, a richness that is often hidden beneath layers of thought and worry. What if you could begin each day by offering yourself the gift of just 5 minutes of conscious breathing? Before you even step out of bed, perhaps, or while your coffee is brewing. Just 5 minutes, observing your breath, gently bringing your mind back each time it wanders. And then, as you move through your day, you can weave this awareness into your activities. While doing dishes, feel the water, see the bubbles, and notice your breath. While walking, feel your feet on the earth, the swing of your arms, and notice your breath. These small moments of presence accumulate, like tiny droplets of dew, eventually nourishing a vast, peaceful landscape within you. The practice of breathing teaches us about impermanence, a fundamental truth of existence. Each breath is born, lives for a moment, and then passes away, making space for the next. This is true for all phenomena, thoughts, emotions, sensations, and indeed, life itself. As we grow older, we become more acutely aware of the changing nature of things. Friends pass on, our bodies change, the world around us transforms. This can sometimes bring sorrow or fear, but when we observe the breath, we learn to gently let go of each inhale and each exhale, understanding that letting go is not an act of loss, but an act of making space for what is new. We learn to flow with life rather than resisting its inevitable currents. What if you could look at this stage of your life not as a period of winding down, but as an unparalleled opportunity for inner growth and deepening wisdom? With the responsibilities of your working life behind you, you have a precious commodity: time. Time to reflect, time to explore your inner landscape, time to cultivate a profound sense of peace that no external circumstance can truly disturb. This conscious breathing practice is a simple yet powerful tool for that exploration. It is a profound act of self-care, a way to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Remember, my friends, this journey is not about striving for perfection. It is about compassion for yourself, patience with your own mind, and a gentle persistence. There will be days when your mind feels like a stormy ocean, and bringing it back to the breath will feel like an impossible task. And there will be days when it feels like a calm, still pond. Both are perfectly fine. The practice is in the returning, in the repeated act of kindness towards your own attention. Each gentle return is an act of love, an act of bringing yourself home to the present moment. So, as we conclude our time together, I invite you to carry this simple wisdom with you. The greatest peace, a profound solace your weary mind seeks, is not hidden in some distant land or complex philosophy. It resides within you, accessible through the gentle, unwavering rhythm of your own breath. May you find the courage to explore this inner sanctuary, to cultivate this timeless practice, and to discover the deep, abiding serenity that is your birthright. May your later years be filled with clarity, presence, and an ever-deepening peace, carried on the gentle currents of your mindful breath. The journey begins with this breath, and the next, and the next. May you be well, may you be peaceful, may you be free from suffering.